Well, students, we're going to finish up your Tiki mugs today. The first thing that I would like you to do is to make the nose, make the eyes, and make the mouth. And so I'm going to do that separate a second from this. I'm going to use some of this extra clay to do it. So I'm just going to move my mug over for now so I don't knock it over. And I'm going to take some of this clay. This is going to be for you guys to share. So just take a piece for the nose. I'm going to take a piece that's about this much. Let me show you. Roll it into a ball. So it's like a jumbo size marble would be a good size. I'm going to take this, put a little bit of water on it, like a bouncy ball, like a big bouncy ball would be a good size. And then I'm going to roll it in my hands. I'm going to roll it up and down to get it started. And I'm going to make kind of a cone shape out of this. Now, there's a couple of sticks that you're going to have. Measure it to the smaller stick, so like this one's longer than this one. So a good measurement would be about as long as this stick. And I'm going to use my whole hand to roll this out, from the tips of my fingers to the bottom of my hand. And you can see I'm rolling more on one end. So here you can see it's almost as long as that stick. So that would be a good size, not longer than the stick. If you kind of pat it out a little bit, it'll give kind of a flatter surface. Just don't push hard and get it stuck to the table. So here, if you want to kind of shape the end of the nose a little bit or change the shape, you may. Now that's going to be a good shape for my nose, so I'll set that aside. Then I'm going to make some eyes. There's a couple ways you could do it. You could take, this is going to be smaller than the other piece, so you can see it's quite a bit smaller. I'm going to just roll it in my hands. You could just flatten it like this. I wouldn't push it to the table because it'll get stuck. You could make like a round shape. If you wanted to make them more of an oval shape, you could. I use a little more clay for this because it's a little bit bigger, but I'm pressing it, and then I'm just going to kind of pinch this corner so then it's a little bit longer. Circles are definitely easier. I'm going to use about the same amount of clay to make two of them. So this is going to be the same. Now that I have these pieces made for my eyes, then I'm going to roll out another piece for the mouth. This is probably best to use a little more than you might think, kind of about the same as what you used for the nose. And I'm going to move these over just so I've got enough space. I'm going to roll out a long coil. So I'm going to roll this up, roll it in my hands like this to get it started. And I'm going to roll out a nice long coil. Use your whole hand, do it slow and steady. This coil, I would say, I'm going to check it to see how big it is. Okay. So it's going to have to be a little longer than these tools. That would be, you can see, a couple fingers longer than that. And I'm going to take this and I'm just going to put a little bit of water on this, and I'm going to loop it to create, and I'm going to overlap that part so you can see those go over top of each other. And I'm just going to kind of smooth those together and just create a circle for now. I can change it into another shape later. But here, I've got my pieces. So those are the first parts to do. You can see that didn't take all that long. I've got my nose, which I did first, then I did my eyes. Now I've got my mouth. I need to put these on now. So we'll start off with putting the nose on first. So I'm going to take my mug and I'm going to take it, I'm going to put some water on this, and then I'm going to make it come down a little more than halfway. And I made it a little extra long because I'm going to trim that off. But I'm going to press this down so that I can kind of stamp it. You can see there's a little bit of mark here of where this is going to go. I'm going to score by making my rough texture right on top of that. Then I'm going to lay this down gently. I don't want to smush it. And I'm going to score this too, make my rough texture. Then I'm going to put some water on this to make my slip. I don't want to smooth out the score marks. And then I'm going to take these two And I'm gonna put my fingers on the inside so I don't smush my mug. So I'm just gonna take my finger, I'm gonna press this down, getting the score marks to stick together. Now this, I'm just gonna pull part of this off, but I'm gonna smooth this to the top of my mug. That's gonna help hold it on there. Smooth the sides, and there will be another tool like this. This is kind of just like a smoothing tool. It's called a shaper tool. And I can take that and just kind of smooth that edge. Got to run it along there a few times just to get that smooth. And you want to smooth it before you put your other parts on. So now I've got that smooth, and I'm going to take my eyes now. I'm going to do the same thing. Every time I set it down, I'm setting it down really gently because it wants to roll, which is good because it's round. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put my water on here. You could have them straight, you can have them angled, and I'm going to stamp that on here so I know where I want them to go. Peel it off, score under there, then score the back of this. Make my rough texture, make my slip. Do the same here, and then stick them together. Make sure to press stuff down good, and I'm just going to repeat that on the other side. So here, that'll show me where I need my score marks to go. Then the last part I need to put on is the mouth. Now, if you want to reshape the mouth, you can change it from a circle to an oval or something else. So here I'm going to set this down, and I just want to figure out what kind of shape I want. So I think I kind of want it to go like this. So here, do the same thing. Get it a little bit wet. Stamp it on there so you can kind of see where that ring is. These just need to be really light little score marks. You don't want to score outside of the shape, because if you're scoring outside of that line, then you're going to have more smoothing to do. So here we'll do that. Then we'll flip this over, score that. And then make some slip, and we'll stick these on. Make sure to press it down good, so that's why I'm going around this, smoothing, and you can always use this shaper tool to kind of just make sure things are smoothing and attaching well. You might need to adjust it and change the way that you're holding it. Just be careful with the way that you're holding it. That, see, like this wants to come off, so I got to press that on there better. So it's good that I'm checking it. Press that down. I'm going to do that quickly on the eyes too. If the tool gets dirty, I just wiped it off on my hand to make sure that it's not going to fall off. Next part, my favorite part, is going to be doing, showing you how to use all these tools. So this one, this helps to take some of the clay away, and you just want to make sure you're not too deep. But I'm going to outline this. You can see that I'm taking the looped end here, and I'm going to take that off. It creates kind of an eyebrow shape. I'm going to save that for something else, and I'm going to follow around my eyes, kind of outline the eye shape that I have. If it doesn't look very smooth, then you can just smooth it with your finger. Now that I did that side, I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye. I'm gonna turn it around because it'll be easier for me to do it this way. You can clean off that extra clay, smooth that with your finger if necessary. Then go around this eye and kind of meet where this is. Now, once I've gone around my eyes, then I'm going to go around my mouth to kind of create some cheek shapes. And I'm going to bring that line down to the bottom. Take this piece off. We'll do that over here. So use this tool, share it, and take some of that clay away to create kind of eyebrows and cheeks. Once you have that done, you can start using some of the other tools. Now, a couple things that I have had students do. If you just create a straight line, you can have your eyes be closed. If you do want to have pupils, I'll make a couple real quick. I'm just gonna roll up a ball of clay, flatten it, and then we'll do another one here, just so that if you have pupils, it doesn't take long to do this little shape. And this is so tiny, I don't need to score it. I'm just gonna make my slip and stick it on. But I think pupils can give it a good detail. And then let me show you how some of these other tools work. Because if someone's using that one to take some clay away, use some of these. So this tool here can do, I'm gonna smooth this first, can do some cool lines. It does a bumpy line on one side and straight line on the other. This tool, this one I'm gonna make it look, I'm gonna do some curved line. It has some triangular line too, but this I'm gonna use for eyes. But you could put dots like with this and do dots for it. This tool could create good eyelids because I've got kind of eyebrows up there. But if I do this one, that creates kind of good eyelid shapes. Then, it's not very smooth, smooth it out. Then, let's see what else. Let's do the other side of this tool. This tool can create some good lines too. So here I might do some lines that follow that cheek line and work that down and around. So that makes kind of a cool straight line. Just be careful with this one. This one does like to poke into the clay, so be careful you don't poke too much and cut a hole in it. Let's see, what else do we have? This knife tool could do good teeth. So I could take this, it creates a pretty straight line. And then if I take this tool, this is the one side I use, but if I use the straight side, then this could create some good teeth. And it creates a pretty smooth line. That's one of the reasons I'm using this. Let's see, what else could I do? Let's do some dots. I want to do eyelids first. Some like eyelash shapes. And I'm gonna do some dotted line. So I'm gonna use, instead of the pointy side, I'm gonna use the round side. We'll go around that way. And let's see if there's anything else. I do want to give the mouth a little bit of detail. The other side of the knife tool, if I can go like this, but I can also go like this. I'm just gonna create some cool indentations. One of the reasons I'm doing this too, that I'm creating texture, is so that it helps push these pieces on too. So work my way around. So that's one of the reasons that we're just doing the nose, the eyes, and the mouth, because the rest of it can be sculpted with these texture tools. Okay, so now I think my Tiki mug looks pretty cool. I think it's done. And if for some reason you had extra time, let me grab another one that's done. This is my other mug that I made earlier. And you can see the designs are just a little bit different. I added some nostrils too, but if there were extra time, you could do a simple design on the back. All I did was I just took my shaper tool, or this tool that's taking things away. I created a couple lines on both sides, and then I just used my knife tool to create these. So if there were time, you could put a design on the back. Most of us won't have time for that, but that is optional. So let's have fun working on these. When we're done, I probably will have you just put all your extra clay in the middle of your table. You can kind of use it like a stamp to pick stuff up. These tools, there's 4 of them that had a rubber band on them at the beginning. Put that rubber band back around, and then I'm gonna have you keep these tools here separate. So this shaper tool, this cool tool that's kind of a loop that will take the clay away, and your sticks will stay separate from that, so I can kind of gather those up differently. So let's have fun.